There's a little less than 2 months left before the release of the new episode of The Amazing Digital Circus, which means very soon we'll start getting more and more new shots from the upcoming episode, and around mid-November, the traditional pre-release build-up will begin. However, even now we've already got several fresh leaks that reveal the story of Episode 7 in even greater detail. First off, let's talk about this post where the voice actors described Episode 7 in just one word. Lizzie Freeman called it what? Alex Rochon said Chinese. Amanda Hufford went with help. Marissa Lenti said huh. Ashley Nichols said yikes. And finally Goose herself described Episode 7 as shrimp. At first glance, this post might not seem to reveal anything important, but if you think about it, each voice actor basically summed up the main emotions their character will experience during the events of Episode 7. That way, we can tell that during the new episode, Pomni will go through some kind of shock, and the only question is what exactly will cause that reaction. Maybe it'll have something to do with Jax, though honestly, I can't even guess what it could be. But it's worth paying attention to how Regatha's voice actor described her part of the episode with the word help. That's where things really start getting interesting, because after Episode 6 we can see that those two are just one step away from becoming real friends. And it'd make total sense if Episode 7 finally wrapped up this story that's been going on since the pilot. In that case, we need to look at these two descriptions of the episode in the context of the bigger story, and then everything starts to make more sense. Episode 7 will bring us some kind of unexpected plot twist that'll cause panic and confusion among the characters of the digital circus. Maybe it'll be a local event that only affects Pomni and Regatha, but if we take a look at how the voice actors for Zubul and Gangle described Episode 7, the whole situation starts to look a lot bigger. Both of them also used pretty unsettling words to describe it, almost confirming that Episode 7 will really become a turning point in the story of the digital circus. The most interesting part starts when we look at how the voice actor for Kane and Gooseworx herself described this episode, Chinese and shrimp, and that completely drove digital circus fans crazy. But I started thinking that these two words are probably not just some random joke. In fact, it looks more like a reference to Chinese culture, and if that's the case, there's a chance Episode 7 will follow the same path as Episode 5, and we'll get to see several small adventures throughout the episode. This theory starts making even more sense if we look again at that very sneak peek, where the creators basically revealed the entire A-Day at the beach, and in that case we can see that this adventure will actually be a pretty minor part of Episode 7, while the main events will take place somewhere far away from the beach. Now we understand that Episode 7 will most likely contain several small adventures, while the main events will take place right inside the digital circus, so let's discuss this in a bit more detail. I'm more than sure Episode 7's gonna start with a scene where Pomni and Regatha are talking about what they agreed on during the Favorite Character Awards. Then, classic style, Kane shows up, and this time he definitely ain't gonna compromise or look for some comfy adventure for the folks in the digital circus. In Episode 5, we clearly saw that Kane can pull everyone to him from any corner of the circus, and even without any physical interaction, drag them all into a new adventure. Kane's really on the edge now, and his main job is to keep the folks in the digital circus entertained, and since day after day they keep refusing his own adventures, it's just making him worse and worse. Kane's decision to send the characters into a new adventure against their will could end up being one of the key moves that kick off the chaos. I feel like that new adventure they'll get dragged into against their will is going to be pretty short, and since we know the new episode's going to be really long, there's a chance that after that, we'll see another adventure. But that's not exactly what we're talking about right now. After they get back from whatever Kane cooked up, the real riot's going to blow up in the digital circus. Since Kane's slowly losing self-control more and more, there's a pretty good chance something in his adventure is going to end up hurting one of the characters, and when they come back, they're going to start telling Kane everything they think about him and his adventures. That kind of attitude from the digital circus folks ain't gonna go unnoticed by the admin, and in response, he's gonna start spilling everything he thinks about them. From Episode 3, we remember what happens when Kane loses control.
Whose therapy session is this again?
Oh yeah!
Back then, Zubul managed to stop him, but we all get that his instability's just getting worse, and in Episode 7, nobody's gonna be able to hold back this, let's say, destruction of the digital circus. Y'all remember how in Episode 2, Pomni fell through the textures. Since the digital circus ain't really any different from Candy Kingdom overall, they can pull off something similar here too, and after a massive glitch, all the characters will end up in a place like that. But this time, there ain't gonna be any gummy goo, just the 6 main digital circus characters, and that's where the really important stuff's gonna kick off. At that point, all the characters are gonna realize it can't go on like this, and that's where we circle back to our sorta split between main and, exaggeratedly speaking, side characters. From the moment they fall through the textures, every single character is gonna be crazy important, and it won't matter if it's Gangle or Jax. I feel like it's going to be Gangle who reminds everyone that at the very start, Pomni kept going on about some kind of exit. But before they all team up as one to get out of the digital circus, they gotta deal with some problems that are right here, right now, and the most obvious one's probably gonna be getting Jax back to normal, cause after episode 6, it's legit scary what's gonna happen to him.
Without honorable mentions and subcategories. That's right, it's bad. Unlike my show, which is good.
God, you look stupid.
Also, Pomni's gonna be insanely curious why Jax acted like that back then.
Oh, we make such a good team.
Because I didn't fight back, that means I secretly care about you? I'm just a misunderstood little chicken fetus in an egg that needs to be cracked open. Well, I am not. I do not care about you or anyone else in this circus in the slightest.
At that point, Jax is already gonna get that there's no turning back, and that's when he's gonna start honestly telling what's really going on with him. I think that's when they'll show us his memories of Ribbit, who's been hinted at for the 2nd episode in a row. After that story, Jax might even shed a few tears, and that's when the hidden hero of the digital circus steps in, Kinger. We've seen plenty of times how he can be totally level-headed, and I'd even say wise. Kinger's perfect for the role of a therapist, and it's pretty likely that after all that Jax just shared, Kinger's gonna pull him aside and have a real heart-to-heart. And considering that up till now all, let's say, therapy sessions ended up working out, I'm sure that after this, Jax is gonna be a totally normal character and finally be able to drop that tough guy mask. In short, everyone's gonna be cheering on Gangle so she can live without her comedy mask. The friendship between Pomni and Regatha is gonna get even stronger. Overall, after falling through the textures, everyone's gonna get way closer to each other. Then Kinger's gonna step in again with his, let's say, superpowers.
Here, take this.
Well, wait. What did you just do? What was that?
It's a butterfly. It can restore your health.
Did Kane mention that?
Oh, nah. I made it up.
And bring everyone back into the digital circus. By that time, Kane's gonna calm down and things will get back to normal. And that's when the whole crew's gonna start planning their escape from this trap and looking for that very door. I've got a hunch that after they get back, we might see one more small adventure, this time actually chosen by the characters themselves. We remember that episode 7 turned out way too massive at first, so they had to split it into 2 separate episodes, linked by the same storyline. In that case, I'm sure episode 7's gonna end with someone from the characters finally being able to find that very door after a long search, and that's gonna be how the episode wraps up. In the end, we're gonna get an episode that kicks off all the chaos, but at the same time sets us up for the really insane stuff that's gonna go down in episode 8. As usual, I'm waiting for your thoughts in the comments and see you soon.